Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today is day 82 of a project I started at the first of the year where it's called 365 Days of Junk Journal Ideas. It's a different idea every day brought to you in a short 15 or 20-minute video. We make all kinds of ephemera. We make everything from the whole junk journal cover to the inside signature pages. All the ephemera, decorating it, everything having to do with junk journals happens here. And so today's day 82, we are going to make tags that are pockets and pockets that are also tags. So let's get started with this project. You just need scraps for this one. I'm going to use a variety of different things. I know that the base of my project is going to be antique documents. I struggle with using the original antique documents because they're so beautiful, they're handwritten, and I need to make an ephemera piece that showcases them. So this is the project I came up with for them. So I've got some scraps. You can see I've, torn off some pages. There's some other ones back here that are just like super old and, they've got some stains on them and whatever, but I want to preserve them. The handwriting is still beautiful. And so that's what this project is all about. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got a whole big bunch of things out on my desk for us to play with. And so we'll hopefully get to some decorating and all that kind of stuff. The first thing is, if your paper is thin like mine, you're going to want to reinforce it. So even though this is a thicker paper, I'm going to reinforce all of my paper right off the bat just to make it stronger. I also want to cut off the white border, so my pages are double-sided, and I'm just going to look and pick out, which side has the prettier handwriting or whatever, and I'm going to cut off some of this white border. We just don't need it all. There is a little bit of handwriting on the back side, so you could save it if you want for scraps or something like that. But now I've got that piece. These pieces, I'm just going to cut this more flush here, just quick with some scissors. And I will save the rest of that for scraps. And then this guy here, I'm just going to trim off the bottom section of it, and I will save that for another project. So I'm going to use some antique stuff. You can use scans, digitals of antique stuff. You don't have to, have this kind of thing. And I'm going to back it. These are digitals that are off printed or misprinted or whatever. And so I just save those to use them as scrap paper. And that's what I'm going to back my pieces of antique paper with. That way it's not a white piece of paper and it's something still neutral. You're not really going to see what's inside of this once we make it, so that part really doesn't matter too terribly much. I do see that I want to cut off this side. Actually, we're good there. Okay, so let's get to gluing these down and backing them with whatever paper we're going to back them with. And so I'm going to use... Boy, the handwriting is just so pretty. I'm going to use that side. I'm going to add glue to it, and I'm going to reinforce all my pages. And so quickly gluing down these antique original documents. This paper is from 1600, and it's 1637. So it is very old, just about 400-year-old original piece of paper here that we're just going to glue stick up. And we're going to glue all the way to the edges, and then I'm going to glue it to that piece of misprinted paper, and that's going to add a lot of strength just because this one particularly was, kind of a thin paper. I mean, in 1637, we were pretty lucky that they had any paper. So we've glued that down. I'm going to smooth it out so I don't get any, and I got some tears. That's okay. And then we're gluing that down, and now we're good. This little guy folded over under here. I don't know if I can save him. We'll try. So there's that. And we glued that one down. I'm going to glue down a couple more. So we've got these little white ones down here. Let's glue this one to this page. Yeah, let's go ahead and glue it to that one. So again, I want to pick out the pretty side. I'm going to add my glue, and I'm going to do it as quick as I can here so we can move on to the next step. So I'm going to actually speed this video up. You won't notice, but I'm going to speed it up. Okay, so I have glued them to their backings, which are those misprinted digitals on all of them. So they're all back. They're all, sturdier now. So we're ready to move on. these two are the right size. This one I'm going to cut down. You can make these any size, so there's not a set measurement that you have to do or anything like that. I'm going to try to do this one about 6 inches. I know that's going to leave me a small piece down here, and maybe I'll use that for a different project or something, but this is the size I'm going to get. So maybe 6 inches by maybe 7 inches. It doesn't really matter. You're going to fold these over and make a tag out of this. So whatever size you want that to be, it's a tag that's a pocket and a pocket that's a tag. It doesn't matter what size you make them. You can make them tiny and you can make them big. Let's go ahead and get them into the proper form here. And so these are antique documents, and I just let them be however curly that they were on the edges, their original decal edge. I just left that there. So you're just going to fold whatever you're using for this part. It could just be cardstock. It could be, you know, scrapbooking paper, whatever. You're just going to fold it in half, just like that. And then this one too. And the inside paper really was just to strengthen it. So it does not matter what you put in there. As long as it doesn't show through on the front side, you're good. You could use junk mail or whatever. You can see that this document is not perfectly, it's not perfectly squared off. And so I need to decide what I'm going to do about that. And I think we're just going to cut this bottom section. I keep folding it and folding it. It's not getting any better. Let me get the bone folder. I think that will help us. There we go. Much better. All right, so that's good. We can live with that. So from there, you're going to glue this into a pocket. So you want to cut your corners like a tag shape. And I have this little bit of overhang here. I'm just going to trim it off. And same up here. Just going to trim off my antique documents. You know, they're not square, whatever. Again, this one was 400 years old. So we can live with a little crookedness. I kept it, you know, a little free form over there. You're going to trim the top like a tag. Don't go too sharp on your angles. Just kind of a tag shape there. And that looks good. And I can see from here, we're not going to line up here either on the back. So I'm just going to trim that off. Doesn't matter at all about this step. So there we go. We have it cut into a tag shape and it opens. You're not going to see the inside when we're done, so that's okay. Again, I'm just going to cut this into a tag shape. That was a little sharp of an angle, but that's okay. There we go. That one's good. And we're going to cut this one as well into a tag shape. And that one needs cut a little bit more. There we go. So we have all together, we have 3 tag shaped little folders. And so they open up, each one of them. But we're going to glue these together like pockets. Before we do that, we want to make a thumb notch on the front part. So the part that goes open like this on the left side, that's where you're going to put your thumb hole notch. And so we want to put a little thumb hole notch there. And it doesn't matter where you put it or how deep you make it, you're going to get a little tag in and out of here. So you just want to make sure that with your fingers, you can do that on all of them. And then we're going to ink these up and glue them together. So let me get them inked up and then I will be right back and we'll continue. Okay, so I've inked around all of them and I've inked front and back. Now, when you put these into a pocket, you know, you're not going to have writing space back here. It is to show off the antique document. So the whole entire tag pocket is made out of an antique document. So the next thing is you glue them together. And you want to glue them so that you can fit a tag in here. So you are going to glue the top. The top, you know, it's not really as important because you're not really going to put a tag there. But you want to glue the top, and you can glue up in here a little bit more. Because again, the tag isn't going to go there. And then you glue the bottom. And that's it. That's all you glue. You don't glue this side here. And so we're going to close that together. And that's what makes our pocket, okay? Really needed a craft mat today. So because we're having live sales every day this week, I don't have my craft mat in here. So what we ended up with was a pocket on this side, right here for a tag. But we used an antique document so that we can, you know, kind of celebrate that antique document a little bit and, you know, showcase it. And we're going to decorate these, but let me get the rest of them glued up quickly. And then we'll add some you know, focal points and labels and the things that we normally do. Um, these are very sturdy little pockets now, and I love the way that they showcase the documents. It's hard for me to find ways to use them without, you know, you can use them in collage and stuff always. That they're always good for that. But it's hard to find other ephemera pieces, ways to use them to make pieces of ephemera that really don't, you know, cover up the document, right? Like the point of having these beautiful documents is that we showcase them. You know, the point of buying the handwritten stuff is so that we can see the handwriting. And so this is a great project for that, I think. So I've made some little tag pockets, and so we will just let those set for a minute, and we will cut some scrapbooking cardstock for the tags. Now you could use anything for the tags. It doesn't have to be cardstock, but I happen to have the Tim Holtz cardstock here, so we're going to cut that for the tags. Before we cut the tags, let's go ahead and cut the tags because we're going to decorate. So let's go ahead and get the tags done and out of the way. And so for that, we just need, you know, any type of offcuts of scrapbooking paper will work. I'm just going to use some of this Tim Holtz wallflower cardstock. You can pick out, you know, any one that you want out of here and use it. It doesn't really matter to me which one we use. Although, can we get those birds to go in there? Those birds might be nice in there. And then you do less decorating on the tag, maybe. I don't know. We have lots and lots of options. Maybe these ones with the butterflies because of the handwriting. Too many options. I'm going to go with those, I think. Or should we use these because they have handwriting also? Nope, the butterflies. Okay, so butterflies and maybe one bird. I don't know. We have to cut 3 of them. So let's get these cut. So to measure these, we just need to know, you know, what size to make our tags. So our tags are probably going to be somewhere in the 4.5 inch range. 4.5 by, you know, a good 3.5 would be good, or 3.25. But let's go ahead and cut these. I'm going to cut 2 at a time. And let's see if we can't get a little bit of this flower over here. So let's cut that. I always put it in backwards. My other cutter in the other room is the exact opposite of this one. So I probably made that too wide. Yes, I did. Yes, I did make it too wide. So we're going to do it like this now. There we go. I have some fun strips, some unexpected fun strips. So if I measure my little tag now, it will go in my pocket. Yep, perfect. And then let's cut it right about here. So I'll give you the overall measurement, but got cute little ephemera pieces for another project. And we have 2 little journaling cards that are going to slide into our little pockets. Now you can decorate. They're a little too tall still. Just a little, yeah, a little bit too tall. Goodness, we're gonna have to cut everything 3 times today. The problem is it is 1:30 in the morning. I have not been to bed at all, and I still have lifestyle stuff to do. So these are our little cards that are gonna slide in here, and I'm gonna put a little tab on them. The whole idea of these was to have a tab on it anyway. So I'm gonna put a little tab on. And so they're super cute in there. I love them. They're going to be great. So we're going to put a tab on them, but there's 2 of our little cards. We need 1 more little card, and I'm just going to cut him right out of this. We're going to get whatever we get of it. We'll try to get this card maybe. Let's try to get that. And then we'll do maybe a 3 inch. Okay. So we have 3 of those done. Awesome. And I have a whole big bunch of scraps because I'll be mad about this tomorrow. Wasting some Tim Holtz paper. It will not get wasted. It will get used, I assure you. Let's move my noisy cutter out of the way and let's decorate up our little bits. So I brought in all kinds of scraps and, you know, things to play with for the decorating the tops of these. We're going to do it 3 at a time if I can find some desk space. I brought in these. They're little bits of music that have some stamping on them. I don't know if I want to use them on there, but I brought them in. Of course, I have these little botanical flowers, and I already know that I'm going to use some of those on here. I have some book page, and I think, you know, we could, but I don't want to cover up too much. So let's just grab some of these flowers out of here, and we will begin using those. I have super large, ooh, this red one works. Let's use this red one. So I'm going to grab a couple of these out. This is an offcut, so I did finally put these into Etsy, the flowers, but this is an off print, so it printed off the page several different directions. So yours will be much nicer than this, but this is the one that I have in here to play with. And so we can use these yellow ones right there. That's awesome. So these were just off printed ones. And so we're going to cut that one out. And then I would like a purple one. I don't know if I have a purple one. Oh, I do. These guys. Perfect. Okay, well, let's cut off the excess of these quick, and then we're going to glue all this down. Do your normal collaging, you know, of whatever looks good to your eye. The great thing about these is that you don't have to be super careful because they do have a vintage background. So whatever you leave around your flowers when you cut them out, if you're fussy cutting them, they can also be journal pages. You don't have to fussy cut them. The digital that I made can be completely just used as a journal page. So anyway, if you're cutting them out, they have a vintage border around them. So you do not have to worry about what you leave. You will never have white space around your leaves or your flowers. And that was designed on purpose so that we could just cut a little bit and not have to be so stressful or stressed out about cutting. But anyway, like I was saying, it's 1:30 in the morning and I haven't been to sleep yet. And I still have some work to do before I can go to bed. And then I'm up again in the morning. I have to take my son to the doctor's. That's just life. It's just how it is. So I have several of these purple ones. Maybe we layer them up or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, we've got some flowers. I kind of think these guys need to go here and here. I don't know how I feel about the layering. Possibly that. The yellow one is bothering me, so we'll skip the yellow one for now. And then we just need something to use as a little label. It doesn't have to be a label. It can be book page, it can be music, it could be just, you know, a little scrap like this. This little scrap is here, so let's tuck him in and use him there. That's perfect. So any type of little scrap like that will work. I have one of these, and we were probably using it for, you know, collage or something like that. But, you know, we need a little something down there, so that works. Don't stress out about this kind of decorating. It just, whatever you have, make it the little label shape and it's good to go. We even have like a little bit of doily that you could poke in, you know, under something. Maybe we're, you know, still going to put a label or something else down there, but whatever you have for scraps, it will work. Here's a little bit of music for that one. I don't know what size we need, but there's a little bit of music. I'm going to try to go with the small little bit. Just a little cluster down there at the bottom. Maybe this guy also gets a little bit of this music. I don't know. But maybe we do that. I gotta know where it goes. I think it just goes here. So there we go. We have three, we have three, we have two. We need one more for this one. Just a little something something. Let's see what else we have. I have some dictionary. I do have a little more of the doily. I think we're going to go with some dictionary. I see some, you know, this little bit down here. What else are you going to use this for? So let's just take a little piece of it. That might be a little much. We'll have to play with that shape. Yeah, I just want this little corner, just that little tiny baby bit right there. And let's try to tuck that in somewhere. So maybe we get it to tuck in up here at the top where it's just peeking out. That looks great. So we have three on all of them. This one I don't know. Maybe I don't want 3 on that one. Let me see what else I can do. I've got a little more. I just don't think that's the one for me. So we're struggling with that one, but I think, you know, it could work. It's just about placement on it. Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to glue those down because we've got them there. Even losing my voice at this point. Okay, we'll ink them quick and we'll glue them down. I don't really need to ink anything else there. I didn't really need to ink anything, so I think we could just skip it on those other ones. So let's do it. Let's get those glued down. I'm going to use a glue stick quick, and I'll get them glued and I'll be right back. All right, so I got everything glued onto them. So I just left that with 2 pieces. I put the 3 pieces on that guy. And again, it was printed, these little flowers are printed on rice paper, so that's why they're cracky like that, but I think it helps them look antique. So I think I'm going to put one more thing on each of them just to kind of tie it together. But for the tabs on the journal cards, I pulled out a piece of Braille. I have never done tabs out of Braille paper, and I thought it looked fun. So let's go ahead and make some tabs out of Braille paper, and we'll see how it goes. I've never done it. Let's do it together. So we're just going to make 3 little tabs out of Braille paper. There's 3 tabs out of Braille paper. And let's get those tabs put on the journal cards. So we're going to do 3 little Braille paper. They definitely need a tab on them. Okay, so let's do that quick. First things first is we're going to fold them together, make sure everything is lined up. And then we're going to ink them and glue them, or glue them and ink them, whatever. And then we'll get them put on. I love the little Braille paper tabs. That's something new for me. And I'm surprised because, you know, I've been using Braille paper for a long time. But let's do it. Let's make them tabs. Super cute. So we're going to add a Braille paper tab, and it doesn't matter where it goes. It doesn't have to go in the thumb notch. We've done that recently too, where we just put them where we want them on the journal card, and then, you know, it doesn't matter where it goes in here. It doesn't have to be in the little thumb notch. So it'll go in there. I'm just being careful not to poke it out too much right now. We're going to ink them anyway. But anyway, so put your tabs on. If you have Braille paper, then go ahead and give that a try. If you have cardstock, any type of cardstock will work to make tabs out of. The tab punch is available on Amazon, as well as the one I have is an antique, or not antique, it's a retired one from Stampin' Up. And so they don't make that exact one anymore, but they do make one that's kind of a newer version, and it punches it already folded, so you don't have to fold the tab. So they're making them a little different now. And so here is our tabs on our journal cards. Oops, that one didn't stay on. Okay, so we can ink them up. I don't know if you guys will be able to see because I turned the brightness up. You won't. So let's get those inked up so you can see the Braille. Braille is just, it's a paper for the visually impaired, but it has a beautiful little texture on it. So you'll be able to see the little dots. And so if you just give it an ink, you know, it kind of helps it look vintage and blend in. So I've kind of inked it there, and I'll make sure I ink all around the edges of it. I do generally ink them before I put them on, but we didn't really do that this time. So just run your dauber over it lightly, and that'll catch the little dots on the top of the card, and then you'll be able to ink around the rest. I like the Braille paper tabs. I'm going to punch out a whole bunch of them. Those would be good to have on hand. So you got 2 ideas in one video, which is common. We do that a lot. But 2 ideas in one video. You're getting a tag that's a pocket that's a tag, and you're getting Braille paper tabs. Braille paper tabs are super cute. Now you can journal on the backs of these cards. This is the Tim Holtz paper, so you can definitely journal on the back of these. So we're going to put those in our little pockets. So we made cute little, they do need to dry a little bit. We made cute little pockets out of an antique document or a couple antique documents. There they go. So really, we saved those documents from the trash pile because, you know, some of them were quite used and stained and whatever, and so that's how they look. We can do a little more decorating if you want, but the idea was to preserve the handwriting, and you can really feel like the texture of the document and all of that. And then you have your writing space that you normally would have back here on your journal card. So that's the idea for today. Sorry, it is a long video. I know you guys don't care and I need to quit apologizing, but anyway, tonight is a Tuesday night live sale. We are having the sale, the super sale-a-thon. So that sale starts at 6 p.m. Nope, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Almost said the wrong one. Tuesdays is always at 6. So tonight is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel. We're having the live sale. We will have all kinds of antique documents and things, all kinds of French stuff, all kinds of just different things. If you guys were hanging out with me tonight, which was Monday, you guys got a little taste of what's to come, but there's a whole big bunch of stuff to come, and we're going to have fun together. So I will see you guys tonight at 7 on the channel, and I'm having that super sale-a-thon all week long. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we're doing the Craft With Me live at 7. So anyway, thanks for joining me for this idea. I really love this little tag pocket thing. And so it's a pocket. You could glue it down on a page. I don't have a journal page to show you, but imagine this was a journal page. You could glue this down where it is glued on the two sides, and it would be a tuck back here. So it could be a pocket back here, and you would have a pocket here. I like the idea of just putting it into a pocket, and then they can pull it out and appreciate, you know, the document and all that kind of stuff. So that's my idea. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys tonight. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.